guys ready?
Ready. Are we live?
Is this thing on?
Trying to look less fat. I don't know if it's possible. A fantastic sports show.
What are we talking
It is
about?
live now. Fantastic Sports Show is live now.
So he's as good looking as
Yeah,
I am.
he
also has a face for radio.
Yeah, well, back in the 70s and 80s, all the hairspray from the girls from Revere would all put their hair up and they would spray that hairspray. And that's why the ozone layer in Revere is thinner than anywhere else in the world. I didn't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that.
Medford is second, but Revere was first.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a Christian. I don't know if he's Catholic, but he's a Christian. And I do know that all 8 children are with his wife.
He's very potent. We know that. Very potent.
Oh, that's right.
Every sport is important, John.
That's right.
I was even going to talk about bass fishing.
Oh.
I was trying to look for the scores today, and I found the bass fishing, sub menu. And I think their first tournament is today. Now that sounds like a pretty fun sport.
Not even a little bit.
No?
Tell me about golf, John.
Varsity Leonard
So
for going
let's
fishing?
All right, guess we're on.
We're on.
Hi.
Hi, Jim.
How you doing? I haven't seen you in a couple weeks. I missed last week's show. Super Bowl week.
Was the highest rated show in our history last week.
I'm sure it was. I tried to call it. I was at the Celtics game. I believe we're going to be talking about Celtics tonight and wrapping up the Patriots.
Our fine producer and co-host Rob Fay over there in the corner hiding from us.
That's me. So what I had for the Patriots is talk a little bit about their 6 draft picks they have in the first 3 rounds. But before that, I wanted to see if you guys had seen any of the social media that the Patriots had posted during the parade. They got a lot of shots of themselves and the audience, and I thought it was kind of a cool thing. So we'll check that out for a little bit and see what you think about that.
Go follow New Era Cap for behind the scenes. We'll be at the parade. Everyone's here. Jules, MVP is in the house. Let's go!
What do you think of that?
I think that was a long.
It's good to see guys having some fun.
I think it's great to see the Patriots players showing that they actually care about everything else. Like, you know, it's amazing to see 1.3 million people come out and celebrate the team. I even posted on Facebook the other day, or that day, I don't understand why people would do that. I would never go. I never did, but it is a pretty impressive thing to see that they actually appreciate people supporting them out there like that.
I'd agree.
So, yeah, it's pretty impressive.
I didn't go this year, but I'm going next year.
You're gonna go next year.
Decided I'm going next year.
I couldn't get out of the town fast enough.
Yeah, I bet. It's not an easy day, I'm sure, for anybody commuting in or out, but it's a good party day for those who are looking to party, I think.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
almost
like-
impossible to get out, but managed.
And it happens all the time. I mean, so much.
I've been
Boston.
escaping 8 of them since I
So,
started
there
working
was
there.
100 days between the two parades.
It's amazing.
And there was a kid there who's 17. It was his 12th parade. Between the Red Sox, Bruins, Celtics, and Patriots, 12 parades.
Somebody over there has their volume up on their phone, maybe? Can hear it. That's how high tech these microphones are.
High
This
tech
is technology.
Good stuff.
So, 6
draft
picks. 6 draft picks in the first 3 rounds. So it'd be Belichick as usual, you know, cash them in for later picks for a later year, or is this the year and kind of I don't know too much about college football, but a kind of a low year in the college quarterbacks? Is this the year we maybe trade for someone's backup quarterback? What do you think they're going to do with these picks?
Well, I'd like to see them get a top flight wide receiver, Odell Beckham like. I think they can package a deal with somebody to get an Odell or a Julio Jones or somebody like that. Although they've tried that in the past, those players have been at the end of their career, the Marvin Harrisons and the Ocho Cincos and such.
Yeah.
But getting somebody like that in the prime of their career, like Randy Moss at that time, would be a nice gift to Tom Brady, I think.
I don't want Odell himself, and I don't want Antonio because I don't think those diva wide receivers would work well in our system. As productive as they may be and as talented as they may be, I think our receiving core is a hard-working group of grinders, and I think a prima donna like AB would be a bad influence on our team. So,
Yeah, I don't know about Antonio Brown. I just I don't hear good things about him. Either I don't think anybody does. He is productive, and I didn't mention him. I mentioned Beckham because although he gives you that appearance that he's that guy in the clubhouse who is all about himself, for some reason I don't get the sense that I get the sense that he wants to be part of something bigger than himself somehow, different than Antonio Brown. I see the opposite of that. Julio Jones has been kind of stuck with Matty Ice for a while, and he can only get so far. 28-3.
yep. So to answer Rob's question, with the amount of quarterbacks that have come out over the last 2 years, I think it would be nice if the Patriots spent a second-round draft pick on a potential, superstar quarterback that they could uncover. I don't know that there's another Baker Mayfield coming out this year, but listen, the future's going to come, and it's going to come pretty quickly. So, we need. In my opinion, we need to bring in a quarterback.
I talked to John about this last week. Jim, what are your thoughts of potentially bringing somebody like Brissett back, Jacoby Brissett?
I think that's ridiculous. Jacoby Brissett's not the backup that we need. No, I don't think that's good at all. I'd like to see them develop a quarterback that they believe in, just like they were doing with Garoppolo. I'm a big fan of Kyler Murray. I like what he brings to the table. This is the guy out of West Virginia, though, that I think is probably more cut in the right cloth. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but kind of a Garoppolo-looking guy. You know, throws the ball well. Played in the system.
Yeah. Kyler Murray is 5'9". That's doesn't bode well.
I don't know. Doug Flutie did well.
Yeah, after 10 years in the Canadian Football League.
That's right.
I didn't realize Kyler Murray was that small.
He's listed as 5'11", and he's not 5'11".
Rob stood next to him once. And towered over him.
That's what I'm hearing from my moles.
Well, listen, there is no doubt that teams historically have liked quarterbacks that are 6'3", 6'4", but Drew Brees is 5'11". So,
Yeah.
and he's been pretty successful.
Well, they put very, very tall cleats on, and you can go from 5'9" to 5'11" real quick.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm actually surprised. I didn't realize Kyler Murray was that small. So, I would have
Yeah.
stayed. I would have stayed in baseball if I were him then.
So draft picks, you know, trading draft picks, you know, Murray's going to be a draft pick. So can they trade 6 draft picks in the first 3 rounds and upgrade themselves at wide receiver and quarterback? I mean, I think they can. That's not been Belichick's history. You know, it's what he's always trading down and trying to upgrade that way. But it's hard to say because they can win Super Bowls without doing anything that the public thinks they need to do.
True.
It's truly amazing. And
Well,
will continue to be.
what you kind of hope for this year is that they do take a quarterback at some point that they believe in and they feel like they can develop because, you know, I get the fact that we have Brian Hoyer, but Brian Hoyer is clearly just a emergency quarterback if something happens to Brady, and he is not the future.
No, he's not going to step in.
And in order to truly develop a guy, he needs at least one full season on the bench without playing to really, you know, be successful. So I would hope that we would, you know, look towards either trading for someone we think is out there that's a good backup, or, you know, we draft someone.
Yep.
So nobody, you know, top your heads off of the other 31 teams, backup or struggling quarterback tickles your fancy right now.
I mean, the name Nick Foles keeps coming up, and but you know, you're going to pay somebody $14 million to be your backup. If you're going to do that, you'd have done that with Garoppolo to begin with. Backup quarterbacks, I think, are a dime a dozen. I mean, you might as well go after Kaepernick if you're going to do that. Hey, we got a call.
Hey, look
from
at
there.
that.
That's good stuff. I like phone calls.
All right. I'm going to answer it while you guys talk.
All right. So, what do you think? Are there any backup quarterbacks out there that?
Well, obviously, Case Keenum's coming available with Joe Flacco going to the Broncos, but Case Keenum is, you know, like a Blaine Gabbert or,
Yeah.
you know.
Nobody really excites me out there. Nick Foles is always good, but you know, he's won a Super Bowl, and you know, he made a big dent. So,
All right, guys, we have a very special guest on the phone lines. It's Leroy.
Leroy, he predicted Todd Gurley coming out as a
He guy, she woman,
she woman.
he
yeah.
woman, she guy.
I'm interested. Let's hear what Leroy has to say. Leroy, are you on?
I was dead on balls accurate, weren't I?
You were, as usual. What did you think of the Super Bowl?
I thought it was boring as hell, actually. There wasn't much going on, was there?
Have you been drinking today?
Oh yeah, a little bit of here and there. I
Yeah.
got a little shine brewing.
A little
got
shine, bro.
I got tested out.
You test it out.
We have to test it.
Yo, you tested it. I
Yeah.
see.
It's like
Gotcha.
cooking. It's like cooking sauce. If you're an Italian, it's like cooking. You know, the gravy. You gotta sample it every now and then. You know.
Yeah.
If you're one of them Italians.
What did you think
Yeah,
about?
but that Foles, I don't think Foles. They should never traded that boy. He was better than the damn fool they got.
The Patriots traded Foles.
Goff, the Rams.
The Eagles, man, the Eagles. They traded that Foles. He done won the Super Bowl for them.
The Eagles traded Foles.
Not yet.
Is
I
this
don't
breaking news, Leroy?
I heard they traded him.
No, they haven't traded him, but he is.
Well, they're
He's
gonna-
on the block,
I'm
as
a-
they say.
I'm a what they call a soothsayer.
I think yeah, he will be traded, and you can call up and tell us that you predicted that.
Yeah.
I predicted the Super Bowl winner, and what happened, right? You might as
Right.
well. You never considered him traded. He's gone.
He's gone.
He's gone.
Where's he
I think he's-
going?
I think Leroy's had a little too much shoe shine today myself.
Little shoe shine.
Little moon
He's
shine.
gone. And what's with this Kyrie Irving? He thinks he can take a week or two off for the Celtics, and then all of a sudden All-Star game come along, and yeah, I'm gonna play in that.
Oh yeah.
Well, Kyrie, he's a showman, and that's a good point. We haven't talked yet about the Celtics. So, Kyrie is one of the 4 or 5 best players in the NBA. I think he's proven that. And the Celtics, I hear people saying that the Celtics are better off without Kyrie, and I don't
It's
understand
ridiculous.
it. I don't understand it.
Jim,
go ahead.
they are 10-2 when
10
Kyrie.
without him. Yeah. He's the best. He's one of the best players in the NBA. It's not possible.
I'm not saying that they don't need him, but statistically, 10-2 without him means it's a pretty good team, and he just makes them better when he plays.
That's what I agree. I believe that. And so getting an Anthony Davis with him. So would you give up Jason? Hey, Leroy, what do you think? Jason Tatum or Anthony Davis if you had to pick?
Oh, I would get rid of that Tater in a minute.
Tatum.
I go with the big fella.
The big fella from
Absolutely.
New Orleans. What about you, John?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see us get an esthetician to fix his eyebrows, but other than that, I would be okay with it.
Yeah,
That's.
the
I
brow.
think he's got like a logo with that now, so that's staying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, Andy Etchebarren was a pretty famous backup catcher with some pretty significant eyebrows, and I'm just afraid that Anthony could turn into the same thing if we don't get those eyebrows under control.
What's the name of that guy again?
Andy Etchebarren. Look him up.
Yeah.
Oh my
Baseball
God,
player.
who the hell cares?
That's what I thought.
Nice.
So, did you see today? I read it on Facebook. on
Good
the
drop
sports-
there, Rob. Good drop.
You like that? On the sports, the Game Changer Sports Network put it on Facebook. Anthony Davis said that the Celtics are indeed on his list of teams he would sign with, and he's never said that they were not.
Did you hear the quote where he said, "All 30 teams are on my list, and I'm not crossing anybody off, so on and so forth." I don't know if that's something that the Celtics should be too excited about.
Yeah, he's gonna sign with Brooklyn.
He's got a 1-year deal coming up. So in the quote, and I don't know if we can find it, but if in the quote it was saying, Anthony Davis saying specifically, "I'm not crossing any team off my list. I'm going to play a year, and then we'll see what free agency brings." That's
Right.
what he said.
Well, in a different quote, someone specifically asked him about the Celtics,
Right.
and he said that
Same quote.
the Celtics were never not on his list, and he's open to anything. Hello, which is, I think that might have been Leroy. Must have been
He dropped the phone and the shoe shine. That's what
Leroy.
I-
Did you fall down? Leroy's gone. Hello. So we're gonna drop Leroy. See if he calls back.
Leroy.
So, yeah, I mean, if you're smart and your agent gets to you, you're gonna say that you're open to anything. I mean, keeps everybody honest, keeps the money high. I mean, the biggest contract you can get is from the Pelicans, but there's always, the trade and a sign and trade, or it's going to be a very interesting summer. Like I was telling John last week, and I think he agreed. This is what all of this Celtics building the picks and picking these players and getting Kyrie, all of it is going to come to a crescendo this summer. Now, we were lucky that we were good during this time, made the playoffs a few times, made the finals a couple times. We were lucky that we got this far. But this is the reason that we went through all that rebuilding. It's for this summer, what happens right now with Anthony Davis. Do you agree, Jim?
I agree for a year. Yes. Do I agree that they're going to go after Anthony Davis? Yes. I believe that if they get Anthony Davis, they have to keep Kyrie in order to accomplish what they want to accomplish. That said, the NBA has become, is a league of players dictating how the league turns out. And I don't love that, to be honest. I don't love that Anthony Davis is going to determine whether or not the Celtics are relevant next year, and it's up to him to. It's all in his plate. This should be. There's no Red Auerbach making a deal here. It's Danny Ainge hoping that Anthony Davis is going to do what he wants him to do.
This whole thing started with the decision in Miami, and it's continued, right?
Yeah.
And
Well, I mean, you can technically say the players didn't do it, but Allen and Garnett and Pierce being put together was kind of, the origination of the new big three.
That was the last great deal, I think.
It was a deal. It wasn't something that they put together themselves.
They were trades. Somebody had to orchestrate all that.
Right,
and
LeBron Garnett didn't want to come. He had to be talked into it. And then, like you said, Bosch and LeBron and Wade came up with this idea. And that's why you can never say, in my opinion, you can never say LeBron is better than Jordan, because now he's kind of tainted the water. Now Jordan never had to go and beg for Shaq to play with him or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Jordan's the best player ever, and will always be, and whatever. And Magic and Larry Bird, Bill Russell. LeBron's in the category. Hey, we got Brad.
Hey, so this is just something from Brad talking about after the last game when they beat Detroit back-to-back after they beat Philly, and how it kind of turned around. They had a really bad streak going, and just their mindset going in to the break.
Just going into the break, back-to-back wins against quality opponents. What does that mean to this team to kind of go into it with this type of play?
Well, these were ones you had to gut out. Like yesterday, you had to gut out because of how you felt going in. There was a reason to be down on Sunday. There was a reason to be licking your wounds a little bit. And then Monday's practice was good. You felt like we were headed in the right direction. I thought we'd play well yesterday. But that doesn't mean you're going to win. And to come out with that one and then back it up with another physical team that had been playing really well, that was fully healthy, I thought that this was this was a good 2 days for this group. I thought it showed a lot of good character, and hopefully we can enjoy the rest. And like I said before the game, it's a lot easier to enjoy it when you're that sore if you've won a couple games, because I'm sure they're going to be sore. They were cashed at the end.
All right. So, not exactly uplifting, rah-rah, we're going to get him in the second half of the year, but that's kind of what you expect from Brad Stevens. So, second half of the year, have they turned the corner a little bit? What do you think about Hayward's play as of late? Give me your Celtics thoughts right now.
Hayward's had a couple of good games, good strong performances. I think he's got a little more confidence in himself, and physically maybe a little more confidence that he's strong again. So he's played pretty good. I mean, listen, I think there's a definite divide on this team between the two young guys, kind of in an internal struggle with Hayward and Kyrie Irving. It's my opinion.
Well, Gordon Hayward he has shown flashes of brilliance in the last few games, but he's done that probably 8 to 10 times this year. It's for him. It's after his injury and coming back, and they're counting on him to be a leader. It's hard to come out of a season where you didn't play on a team that went to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals and try and be a leader. They need him to be a leader because Kyrie, although he's trying to be a leader, is not a leader. He's a great player that is not necessarily somebody who everybody wants to follow. So Hayward, I think, was supposed to be that guy last year, and he still has to fall into that category. Now you see guys like Marcus Morris trying to fill that role. I don't know. It's not working. Now they've got about 20 games to figure it out. are they in the process of figuring it out? I think they're trying. I think it's good just that, you know, Kyrie takes a few games off, Terry Rozier steps up and, you know, does what he does what he did last year.
Yep.
They're going to have a good run to finish the season, and I think they're going to be back in the conference finals. I do. The local media is making a big deal about this team can't go anywhere if there's an internal strife. But I think that's being made up. Is there competitive issues between the younger guys and the older guys? Yeah, I think there is. But I think with the next 20 games are going to pretty much show what the season is going to be. And
I think Hayward is kind of turning the corner. Usually, like John, you were talking about, Jim, it takes an injury like that. Sometimes it takes you a whole year to get back to where you once before. And I was watching. If you get a chance to watch these games on TNT on the players only format, where it's not a play-by-play, it's 4 NBA players, like you're in their house watching the game with them and commenting, and it's not like a passes to Bird, he fiddles, he diddles. It's it's more of a just pointing out things. And I believe it was Steve Smith, or I don't know who it was, pointed out that once they give Hayward the ball and to make his own plays, like let him run the offense, he has been playing lights out ever since they've been doing that. So if there's something that they recognize and start to go with in the second half of the year. Before the trade deadline, I felt confident that the Celtics could beat Milwaukee, Toronto, Philly, any of these teams in a 7-game series. I got to see what Toronto is like now with Gasol, because that scares me a little bit. Other than that, what's your what do you guys think about the Celtics facing any of these teams? The last 3 teams are all under 500. They suck. So what about those 4 teams?
I think Milwaukee is too early in their development stage to make a big run to the conference finals.
They don't have enough behind Giannis to. I think if you double Giannis, they don't have the depth that the Celtics have. So I don't think they scare me.
No, Chris Humphries is their next best player. And
yeah,
I mean, okay. So Toronto is Toronto. They're always there, at least the last 4 or 5 years, and they added Gasol. Anytime you add a big name to a good team, there has to be an adjustment period. So as we've seen not only in our team but in every other team. So you do that in mid-season. The hope is, from my perspective, that Toronto actually gets worse before they get better. And
it's always possible.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens.
Because Gasol's going to take minutes away from someone else that had chemistry with the team.
Right.
So there is the possibility that they're not as successful and cohesive in the beginning. I guess time will tell.
Yeah. And then it's the Sixers. The Sixers are the team that scares me the most.
But we've beaten them 3 of the last 4 times.
And that's the thing. I don't think for whatever reason, the Celtics have their number.
Yeah.
But I think you see this. They're going to have to play each other at some point, most likely. I don't think anybody else is going to beat the Sixers going into going down into the conference finals. So hopefully the Celtics and Sixers can somehow figure out a way to play each other in the finals. But
Butler's brought nothing to that team.
I didn't think he was anything special to begin with.
Remember when we were all about gotta have Jimmy Butler?
Not me.
Gotta make it shade?
Nope.
No, I thought, I wanted bigger and better guys, but I didn't think he was going to be this bad.
Rob, can you rewind the tape from last year so we can verify that he didn't want Jimmy Butler? Because a typical, fence-walking sports reporter who, when it goes a certain way, says, I didn't want the guy. But if the guy was a stud, he'd be saying, see, we should have got the guy. So
yeah.
Same thing. I could say the same exact thing 2 years ago when it was either going to be Chris. They were talking about getting Chris Sale, but everybody was talking about James Shields because he was the big name free agent for the Red Sox. And I said, there is no way we want James Shields. Unfortunately, we didn't get him because he's been a 6 and 18 pitcher since.
He's Matt Clement 2.0.
Yeah.
like I said the day they talked about him.
And Jimmy Butler is just another 6'7" athletic basketball player. He's a dime a dozen. There's
Right. I gave him a little
nothing
more
special
credit.
there.
I thought it was pretty good, but at that point, we thought we still had a chance to get Paul George. So
Paul George was the
kinda,
one I was
on
going
that
for.
bandwagon.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like, I'll admit that I thought Butler was going to be a hell of a lot better than he's been. And this Tobias Harris, you think that Philly just won like 2 Super Bowls, an NHL championship, and the Pope came to town. The way they acted when they got this guy, I'm like, really? Seriously? Tobias Harris?
Does anybody
Talk
even
about
know
a dime a dozen.
What school did he go to? I don't even know who he is.
I don't know. Isn't he on Arrested Development? I think that's
Yes.
the same guy.
Yep, same guy.
So I'm not too impressed.
No.
Not too impressed. And in every game that the Lakers lose makes me happier and happier human being.
But that being said, the Sixers, with or without Tobias Harris, are good. They're JJ Redick is good. Embiid is
Pains
really
me
phenomenal.
to say JJ Redick is very good.
Yeah, Embiid is phenomenal, and Lionel Simmons is a great point guard.
The L train.
Ben Simmons. Andrew Toney was a great three-point
Yeah,
shooter.
I mean, you can't stop him. Cheeks running the point.
Mo Cheeks at the point. Moses Malone.
Clarence Weatherspoon is like money down low.
I love digging back into the 80s. We should do an 80s revival sports show.
We should, definitely. We can.
Can we dress like the 80s too?
Yes.
I got a members only jacket and.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I'll grow a mullet. I'll buy you a mullet wig.
Yeah.
We can do that during the ESPY Awards week.
Oh, that'll be fun.
That'll
Was
be
it the All-Star Game weekend for baseball? Wow, what a bad weekend that is. All right, let's transfer over to the Boys of Summer. Another team that had a duck boat parade not too long ago. The Red Sox, pitchers and catchers showed up. People are showing up left and right. We've got a little sound from David Price and Alex Cora, and then some video of just some workouts that we can talk over. So here's David Price talking to the media, I think on the first day.
They spoke about being on the duck boat on the parade. He knew that how Boston was a passionate sports town, but seeing the people just blew him away, and how the whole reaction. Did you have a similar feeling when you were on that?
Yeah. I mean, I remember we were all talking about it either on the plane flight or before it started. A lot of us didn't really know what to expect, and I definitely planned on being pretty tame out there. And probably about a third of the way through, I told my wife, like, we got to get somebody to drive us home. I'm about to have fun, and I had fun.
For us to do what we are planning on doing, we have to be ready, and they are ready. Obviously, there's a lot of challenges. It's not going to be the same season, but we do feel that with the players that we have, with the guys that we're going to have in the minor leagues, we're going to be in a good spot to do it again.
There you go.
All right, so that was that. Let me just plug the rest of that one-on-one with Alex Cora will be tomorrow night on 7 Sports Extra at 11:30 on Channel 7 in Boston with Chelsea McDonald. So the pitchers show up. The Sale Price shows up. You see Petey giving some lessons, showing the guys. I think he's going to work with Erod a little bit this year. Later on, you'll see Veritek working with the catchers. There's not going to be a lot of addition to this team, and we didn't lose a ton of players besides a few guys in the bullpen, and we don't know what's going to happen with Kimbrel. What do you expect from the Red Sox this year? We're going to sneak up on people? I mean, Red Sox won 100-something games. Yankees won 95 games or something like that. And even the Tampa Bay won 90 games. Of course, they traded Archer. What do you expect from the Sox this year, you guys?
Well, I think it's nice to have Pedroia back if he's healthy.
You do? I'm not anti-Pedroia, but I don't think it makes any difference. But go ahead.
Okay. Well, I thought at times that our second base play last year was a little inconsistent. So I'm happy to have Pedroia, and I'm not in love with Rafael Devers at third base. I think he's a pretty good player, but you know, I'm not 100% certain that Rafi Devers is the guy for us. I think we're pretty solid at short, and obviously we got a terrific outfield. I'd actually prefer to see Swihart be the second catcher over Sandy Leon. And,
I would too.
And you know,
there's Petey in the cage. He's about to hit.
Yep.
Well, PD coming back, I mean, he's the de facto captain of this team, and I think him being healthy and coming back, and he is one of the, if not the best defensive second baseman in baseball. I don't see how that hurts. I think.
Can you count on that though?
I don't know. I mean,
We haven't been able to count on this guy in 4 years.
Well, if he can play, then he makes the team better. There's no doubt in my mind.
Said people the last 4 years.
Fine, but we knew what we were getting 2 years ago, and last year, you know, he got hurt. It is what it is.
I don't
If
disagree.
he can
I
play,
just
he
don't
plays.
expect anything.
Swihart, I agree with as a catcher. I think he's a big league catcher. I think he's the most athletic of all our catchers, and if he can control the pitching staff, I don't see why he shouldn't get more time. And at third base, all right. So I get why people are down on Devers, but the kid was 17 years old, and you know he hadn't even graduated high school yet, and he can only eat ice cream. And he's a World Series champion. Did he hit 20 home runs last year? I mean, in the majors.
He had a pretty good playoffs. He played pretty good defense too.
The guy's a player, and if I think back 4 or 5 years ago when Xander Bogaerts got switched over to shortstop, and everybody said, he's not our shortstop, and then the second year after he became a shortstop, he came back and turned himself into a great shortstop. And I hope and look for more of the same with Devers. So as far as you mentioned the closer, the bullpen, I don't know. Kimbrel was probably the most frustrating thing to watch throughout the postseason last year. I'm not saying I wouldn't want to face him if I were the Red Sox in a closing game because he's nasty. But can they get by without him? Yeah, I do. I think they can get by without him. And
I think it's interesting that I think Kimbrel's meeting today with the Braves. They aren't going to give him the length of contract or the money that he wants. But you look at him, you look at Machado, and you look at Bryce Harper, and we're like, you know, pitchers and catchers reporting position players, I think, are today. And those guys remain unsigned. I get that, you know, Scott Boras is typically going to hold his players back as long as he can. But I guess, you know, you wonder at some point when you're trying to get your guy, in the case of Harper, you know, 10-year, $300 million deal, do you change the terms and get your player signed so he can join the team, or do you hold him out? And I guess I'm not quite sure what the strategy is with Machado and with Harper.
I hope they both go to the Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I guess maybe
neither of them can pitch, so
Yeah.
I don't see how it's going to do much help.
Agreed.
So I don't. Yeah, I love to see the Yankees throw more money at these potential DHs in 5 years. So I agree that we may not need Kimbrel. Do we promote from within? Do you try to maybe trade for somebody? I don't even know who was out there as far as free agent closers.
So my dark horse candidate for closer is Brian Johnson.
I don't love that.
That's a junk ball pitcher. You can live with a junk ball pitcher.
Russ Brazier has the arm for it, or Jim Brazier, whatever the Brazier's name is. I think I went to high school with Russ Brazier.
Maybe.
Yeah. And
Keith Falk was not exactly a guy that could smoke the ball, and he was pretty successful.
Yeah,
closer.
but he had that killer slider. I like Johnson.
He was a forkball guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Brian Johnson. He's a middle. He's you know who he is. He's Drew Pomeranz. That's who he is. Yep.
Excellent.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that. I just hope maybe they get Kimbrel on short money. And
what about Matt Barnes? I mean, Matt Barnes and Brazier, and I mean, who closed out most of the World Series games? It was Eovaldi and Price.
Yeah. So we just need someone to keep the seat warm until those playoffs start.
Did you see the Tampa wants to use more of that opener type thing this year?
That's
where
garbage.
They bring the guy in for 1 inning to start the game or 2 innings.
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
I don't quite understand that mentality. And I saw some of the big league names were Verlander and some of the other guys were saying it's a bad concept. But Tampa's apparently going to employ the idea of you come in, you pitch 1 inning today, and you're done, and you might pitch the next
so
day.
So the starter
and
can go to the 6th or the 7th.
Yeah.
But if it's like 8-0 in the first inning, what good is that?
Exactly.
If this opener thing catches on and teams are doing it, then obviously pitchers like Verlander are going to hate it because that lessens the value of a starter pitcher and the money they get. And who knows what they're going to get with the next agreement, the next media agreement, how much money they're even going to be able to spend.
That's what I think is happening. I think these experiments with how do you use your players is about money. It's more about money than anything else. I don't think anybody's been really putting that out there yet, but if you start having pitchers pitch an inning to start games, that devalues the starting pitcher's starts, which is typically an incentive for them.
Well, then, it makes sense that a team like Tampa would try that because a team like Tampa is now a team that can afford a big payroll.
So we can agree that it's a stupid idea, right? Stupid?
It's worked for me in wiffle ball a few times, but I would imagine in the big leagues it probably doesn't work as well.
Wait a minute. That's the smartest thing I've ever heard anyone say about anything.
So there you go. Peter Griffin likes it.
Nice.
He thinks it's a good idea. So I guess we've talked about the 3 major sports teams, except that hockey team that I don't like.
Jim seems to usually wants to talk a little bit about Campbell Sports, not the Bruins.
Jim couldn't be further away from his microphone, actually.
I still don't know who's going to coach Campbell baseball and what happened to the coaching staff from last year. And
did the whole staff leave, all of them? And
I also wonder if Jim has any interest. I think they need a coach for bass fishing this year. Is that an interest of Jim to have be the bass fishing coach at the high school?
Imagine that job.
Now,
hey guys, let's go fishing.
Different than baseball, Jim. I know you've been out coached in baseball games, but can you get out fished? Can you get out fished in bass fishing?
Theoretically, I've never been out coached in a baseball or any diamond, softball or baseball, to be honest. But and I'm pretty confident about that. Maybe bordering on cocky. As far as Campbell High School baseball goes, I believe the position is still open, and I will put in a plug for David Sanborn. David Sanborn.
Oh, the saxophonist?
Former Campbell High School baseball player. He did assist in one practice with our team last year, and he is a fellow realtor.
And it was the best practice they ever had.
He is interested in becoming the next head coach at Campbell High School.
Excellent.
Interesting.
Yep.
Excellent. There was a time when...
Does he have to take over a program in a lot of disarray from the previous coaching staff? Or
no, the
it'll be a smooth transition.
The program itself was made prior to the most recent coaching staff. Then it was transferred in a situation of unfettered distress. Still finished 6th in the state, top 6 seed.
Out of 7 teams.
Out of 31 teams, yeah.
Excellent.
And then we got beat up in the first round, pretty good. Anyway, we lost some really good senior leadership from last year's team, and there really wasn't much leadership coming back. And
it was a young team.
It wasn't. There really isn't much there to work with. So the next coach is gonna be able to work with young players and be able to start a new program.
Right.
I guess
you're not the coach that's going to go back and teach the kids the basics. You're more of a Doc Rivers. Give me the veterans, and we'll go out there and we'll win.
I'll make a good player great. Yep, all day long.
Excellent. I don't have a doubt in my mind that'll happen. John, you've done that in your softball career, making good players great.
Not to the degree that my partner to the left here has, but yeah, I may have helped a couple of girls in U8 make it to U10.
Yes, that's all you can ask for.
Nice. That's good. Good stuff.
So is that it?
I think that's it.
We get any questions on the on
No comments today. No,
comments.
and one phone call. We only get phone calls from Georgia, or Mississippi, or wherever he's from.
Leroy from.
Yeah. I think it
where's
is
he from,
Georgia.
Jim?
He
It's
might be from
Georgia.
Georgia.
Yeah, because
Macon,
I remember
think is
making
what he
fun
said.
of the Hazard County.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this was a good show. I thought it was a good talk.
Yeah.
Good
yeah,
stuff.
It's always good.
A
So-
wide array of subjects
Yeah.
that we talked about.
Good plan by you.
Last minute.
I probably can't wear this shirt after this week, though, fellas.
John, what's going on, John?
Oh, did you do an imitation earlier as well? Was that Paul McCartney doing an imitation of someone else?
I don't think so.
No.
What was it?
I forget, but John is retiring.
It's a forced retirement at work.
Work is retiring.
The work is retiring, yes.
So how does that work? Is like but we've talked about this. That's Paul McCartney's wife was a co-owner. What was that?
Her Paul's wife's father owns the company.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And
well, the trucking concern is filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So
there's more to the company than the trucking industry.
There's a real estate holding company and there's a truckload carrier, and some of that I think will eventually remain. But
and I want to get into making smoothies. I got to get me some smoothies, John.
Paul McCartney, folks. So, and they've asked you to help with the shutting down of the company.
Yeah, the better I do at shutting down the company, the quicker I can be unemployed.
Nice, good for you.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Seems like the
so
American
it's
way.
a big motivation on my part to get that done as quickly as possible.
Are you going to be able to
note-
take the summer off, John, or is you going to have to get right back into things?
No, I won't be able to take probably more than March 4th or 5th off.
Oh Lord!
Just before spring training.
Yeah.
For some.
Yeah.
But but things on a serious note, things are looking up.
Oh
for
yeah.
Your future.
I'll be gainfully employed. I'm gonna have an interview this week to become a plus size male model.
Well, I guess I'm
hoping
going to go to that.
Hoping that
interview.
goes pretty well.
Yeah.
You know.
Good.
So.
Yeah.
I'll meet you at that interview.
Good stuff.
You know, I gave up my spot down at the male exotic dancing place down in Seabrook, Wiggle and Willie's.
Wiggle and
They're
Willie's?
looking for a hefty guy. 'Cause I quit a couple weeks ago as I pulled my sciatic was bothering me again. So if you want to fill in, it's Thursdays and Sundays at noon. I usually rack in about $13-15. It's not too shabby.
Yeah. My male model career will make me a little bit more money than that.
Excellent.
And if that doesn't work, I'll probably do stand up or something.
I think you should interview with a company in Florida just so they'll fly you down and you can give us an interview via phone from JetBlue Park. Want to try that?
No.
Oh, all right.
No.
Okay.
Nope.
All right.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up, and next hopefully will be next Thursday. Any objections to Thursday, guys? So far, so good.
I should be okay for Thursday. I don't think I'll have to work late that night.
Thursday is the 21st.
Thursday,
and
7.
It is Rob Meyer's birthday.
Good, but it's not Valentine's Day.
Town
which was
resident Rob Myers, potentially.
Excellent.
Maybe not. No, I'm sorry. Different Rob Myers. Former president of Daniel Webster College, Rob Myers.
Oh.
Birthday. Yep.
Excellent.
All right. 7 o'clock Thursday night.
All right.
Be here or be somewhere else, I guess.
All right. Thanks to Russ Blanchett, setting everything up, making sure our sounds okay. Thanks to John McKenna, Jim Cardello. I'm Rob Fay. We'll see you guys hopefully Thursday, 7 o'clock.
Nice. Is this thing on?
Trying to look less fat. I don't know if it's possible. A fantastic sports show.
What are we talking
It is
about?
live now. Fantastic Sports Show is live now.
So he's as good looking as
You-
I am.
he- he-
He's
he-
also has a face for radio.
You too.
Yeah, well, back in the 70s and 80s, all the hairspray from the girls from Revere would all put their hair up and they would spray that hairspray. And that's why the ozone layer in Revere is thinner than anywhere else in the world. I didn't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that.
Medford is second, but Revere was first.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, he's a Christian. I don't know if he's Catholic, but he's a Christian. And I do know that all 8 children are with his wife.
He's very potent. We know that. Very potent.
Oh, that's right.
Every sport is important, John.
That's right.
I was even going to talk about bass fishing.
Oh.
I was trying to look in to see. I was trying to look at the scores today, and I found the bass fishing, sub menu. And I think their first tournament is today. Now that sounds like a pretty fun sport.
Not even a little bit.
No?
Tell me about golf, John.
All right.
Varsity Leonard
So
for going
let's
fishing?
let's